I'm 56 years old and I'm making the most out of my life despite having done 26 years in prison. And that's what I want to, for every single person that I reach. I'm so glad to be in every state prison in California. I'm so glad to be in Washington state prisons, where else? The New York City Department of Corrections with audio, Bureau of Prisons at the USP Atwater in California, the prisons in Victorville, California, the federal prison in Victorville, California. Where else? We're in ADX, Florence, Colorado, and now we're in the Mecklenburg County Jail.
Friday, June the 5th, 2020, and I'm about ready to teach inside of the Mecklenburg County Jail again. I thought I'd create a little video that's a little bit different, showing the people how I prepare my work. And so I made this video just walking around my house, explaining a little bit why I created the video. You're going to have to get past the fact that it looks like I'm looking a little bit off because I had to film this video on my phone, and I rarely do that. So I have a tendency to kind of look over here instead of over here. And so I think I'm looking at different areas on the phone, but people in jail and prison will understand because they know that I'm just like them and really just learning how to create this content in a manner that will teach and inspire them. We definitely want to give these guys a different message from what society gives them, that if they're in jail or prison, they've got nothing coming, they've got nowhere to turn. The reality is, if we start working and create this deliberate, methodical plan, even if we're in struggle, we can begin sowing seeds for the life that we want to build. And that's what I strive to show them in an authentic way. And even if I'm looking off to the side of the video, as you'll see me doing on this telephone, you can see that I'm always planning, always working. In fact, it's 4:45 now as I get this video ready to publish, and I hope the guys inside find it a little bit inspiring. And I hope you do too. And if you do, please subscribe to the Prison Professor's channel, ring the bell, and you'll be notified about when I produce a video, because I produce a new video every single day. And if you leave something in the comment of what you'd like to hear, you can count on me to get it done.
This is a green screen that I have behind me, and it is the reason that I'm able to sometimes cut myself out of the video and make me float along on the screen during the lessons that I create for people in jails and prisons. You may notice I like to put myself a little bit smaller and make it so that my guest, the subject that I'm talking about, is bigger. But today I don't want to use the green screen for this particular video because I thought I'd make a video that shows the guys in jail and prison specifically how I do my work. And today it is June the 5th at 4:20 a.m. I'm sitting at my desk already. I've been here for a little while. I don't know if you can see the time, but it's 4:20 in the morning. And I'll just walk around my house to tell you why I'm pretty excited today about the project that we're working on. So we're creating this content to teach and inspire people in jail and prison. And the reason that I really got started and wanted to do this work is because I, learned about the pandemic. I learned that people were going to be on lockdown, and I know how tough that is. But in jails and prisons, people still have access to television, and rather than just sitting around doing nothing, I thought it would be helpful for them to get these lessons on what people can be doing, regardless of where they are, to start preparing for the journey they're going to have on the other side when they come home, because it doesn't happen by accident, right? Success is really difficult for somebody who has a background like mine. Somebody who's been in prison for a long period of time, and a long period of time could be a week, right? Once you have a criminal background, once you have this record that follows you around, sometimes it can be really tough to get a job. It can be tough to start building your life. It can be tough to get anybody to believe that you have anything of value to contribute. And so it's really important for people with that background to be thinking on their own, to be thinking about what can they do. So I wanted to start creating this type of content right here from my house. And this is one of the areas you may see that I do some filming right here. I can use that big television as a whiteboard by simply recording a PowerPoint, connecting my computer to that television, and I can speak in front of it and just use a little clicker to walk me through the video what I want to say if I want to be on something that's very specific. You can't see outside right now because it's 4 in the morning, but sometimes I like to film outside. And the reason I like to film outside is because we have a nice pool, and when I was in jail, I could never see water. I'd been there for so long that I couldn't see water outside. And I used to wonder what it looked like. I remember I used to call my younger sister, and whenever she was in water, in a pool or at a beach or something like that, I couldn't see it, but I could hear it, and it made a big difference to me because I felt as if I were there. I could remember it. But here, I just like to take a picture out there to show the people what it looks like. Sometimes I film right here. I got to be a little bit quiet right now because my wife is still sleeping. But you can see our living room is kind of a studio. I've got my cameras set up right there because sometimes I want to film in front of this nice back setting. But most of the time I film right from either this dining room, or sometimes I film right at the computer where I can sit and share my screen and show people what I'm working on. But the key concept that I'm trying to do is basically show people the technique, the mindset to tune yourself out of the negativity and where we are and focus instead on what we want to become. When I was in jail, even though I was there for so long, I always had to think about how do I want to get out? And what I didn't want was to get out with these challenges that complicate life for so many people who have been in prison. You know, I didn't want to get out and not be able to get a job. I didn't want to get out and not be able to start a business. I didn't want to get out and have to be reminded for the rest of my life that I've been in prison for so long. Instead, I wanted to control my own destiny. I wanted to control my own life, and I had to do that. I had to really take incremental action steps. I had to define what success was going to be like. I had to make sure that I had clear goals that would get me through the first 6 months, the first year, the second year, the fifth year. By the 10th year, I'd set these goals that I wanted to have a university degree, and I wanted to have a support network, and I wanted to have some tangible objects to show how I was contributing to society, even though I was in prison. Well, it's no different from being out here. When I came out of prison, I set those same kind of goals that I wanted to, have my career really developed. I wanted my career to be going as well as if I had never been to prison for a single day. And that was even though I didn't have any credit. I had a 0.00 credit score. But the decisions inside of jail, inside of prison, really put me on a pathway that would allow me to accelerate my career and begin building a life, even though I was a convicted felon, and even though I had served more time of my life in jail and in prison than I had been outside. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by changing the way we think. There's a lot of people out here that will teach, that will profile and talk a lot about, the typical, stereotypical journey through prison. That's not what the Prison Professor Show is about. And if you like this kind of content, do me the favor. I'm kind of learning how to do this. Subscribe to the program and ring the bell, and you'll be notified of when I'm producing content. I produce content every single day, both for the YouTube channel and also for the podcast, because I want to give people as much content as they can. If I can get this content into jails and prisons, people can be listening to this message while they're walking around the track, while they're serving time in segregated housing unit, while they're just thinking in their cell. The more they think about what they can do when they are in there to prepare for a life of success when they come home, the better off they're going to be, the better off their families are going to be. And this is kind of how I live up to that commitment that I made of working to be the change that I want to see in the world. Today, I've got some pretty exciting news. Besides it being the 5th day of my teaching inside of a jail and continuing to create more content for the course, I've got a call this afternoon with the high-level members of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. I want to expand the programs that we have going inside the California prison system, because there's really a big challenge for people in jail and prison today. And that challenge is they're going to be coming back to a society that has 40 million people unemployed, that has a lot of social unrest, that has a pandemic, and unfortunately it's going to be people with a criminal background that are going to really suffer the most. So I want to do my best to help them, and one of the ways that I can do that is providing daily content to people in jails and prisons across America. I want to profile stories like other people that I have known who have come out of prison successfully. There's a lot of shows out there that profile people that talk about gang life, or talk about the recidivism cycle, or talk about the types of behavior that keep them in recidivism. Prison Professors is different. Prison Professors teaches a deliberate strategy to succeed in spite of struggle. Very different. The idea is to come out of jail and prison, have nobody know that you served a day inside of there. The objective is to have people come home and be able to succeed even if society won't give them a fair chance with a job or things of that sort. Even if society is always going to judge them because they served so much time in prison. That it requires a mindset, that requires really strong critical thinking skills, and it also requires a demonstrable example. People need to see that it can actually happen. And so by profiling what I do and where I am and how they can do the same thing, I mean, every single person in prisons and jails where I was could be doing the same thing that I did, which is work every single day to prepare for success upon release. And if they can do that, I can tell you right now, I basically have the same life that I had when I was in prison. Here's another area where I work out a lot. You can see every single day I am working. When I'm not in the office creating content, I'll come in here just like I would do when I was in prison. I'd exercise on this fitness machine, but while I'm exercising, you notice that I have a screen there and I also have a computer there. It's because that's when I do my training. I'm always thinking about, okay, what do I have to do to prepare myself for the things that I want to do when I come home. I have to train my mind for all of that. I can't do it by myself. I can't do it without understanding how do other people succeed. So I'm always looking at successful people and saying, what can I learn from them? What can I do? And I also have to stay fit, right? There's a big problem in America with obesity. You got to have a strong body. You got to have a strong mind. You know, I may not have the physique that I had while I was in prison because I'm not able to devote 3-4 hours a day, but I can still get a run in. I can still take a lesson. I can still stay fit. I'm 56 years old and I'm making the most out of my life despite having done 26 years in prison. And that's what I want for every single person that I reach. I'm so glad to be in every state prison in California. I'm so glad to be in Washington state prisons, where else? The New York City Department of Corrections with audio, Bureau of Prisons at the USP Atwater in California, the prisons in Victorville, California, the federal prison in Victorville, California. Where else? We're in ADX, Florence, Colorado, and now we're in the Mecklenburg County Jail. So hoping to expand and grow the Prison Professors program, really would like you to be a part of it, and you can do that by simply subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell so you get notified every day when I put out a new video. Even if they're just amateur videos like this, this is the way that I show people how decisions in prison have a direct influence and impact on what that person becomes on the other side of the journey. So please support the Prison Professors program and let me know, but with a comment if you'd like me to make some other type of video, because I'm very happy to do it. 100% authentic, 100% driven to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, and more importantly, helping other people achieve the goals that they want to achieve. Thanks.